Hey there, and welcome back to the Second Lunch Podcast. I'm not inebriated this time yet, but we're going to get working on that. We did have St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, fucking Monday.
Our little,
Christ. I mean, I guess if there's any way to pay attention or pay respects to our stereotypes of our Irish, getting drunk, getting shit-faced on a Monday, I suppose, is appropriate.
I like that that's all that anybody's taken away from what he did. They're like, he's a saint, it's cool. We don't really know when he was born or when he died. We know he was kidnapped. Let's get fucking hammered.
Yeah, I mean...
Something about snakes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which we know Ireland can't have. As Jack Donaghy once said, all this guy had was a lack of snakes. And look what he turned it into. I mean...
Yeah, there was supposed to be some religious...
rationale for why there could have been snakes in Ireland.
The snakes were the people who didn't believe. Anyway.
I'm the devil! It was the explanation somewhere on those lines.
We can't talk about how shitty Guinness is, though. Jesus
See, I'm a hard
Christ.
disagree. I love Guinness. I think Guinness is great. Guinness is the one beer that I can drink an unlimited amount of with no repercussions. Emotional repercussions notwithstanding. But psychic repercussions.
I guess it helps when the beer is flat. It doesn't take up as much space in your stomach.
No, it's the smoothest. It's like water. You know, it's a light beer. By nature, it's a light... People are like, man, Guinness is so heavy. Have you drank an entire... have you consumed one?
I don't know. I don't like how they define it as creamy, as if they're describing a milkshake and not a beer.
I will give you that one. That is an iffy description on any beer, for sure. And I will admit, anybody disliking Guinness or... now I'm blanking on the other one. Boddington's, the nitro beers from across the pond that are flat. Like, if you don't like that, totally understand. But I will say, my defense of Guinness has always been in the flavor and drinkability. Like, it's just very mild. Like, very few people are totally off put by the flavor. The carbonation, 1000%. That's fucking weird.
It tastes like the last, quarter ounce at the bottom of a normal beer can, but it's a whole beer.
For sure.
I mean? So, just a little iffy for me. I'm not going to say I didn't drink it on St. Patrick's Day.
No. But it is a different beer.
Did not enjoy it like I do any other.
I'd say it's also one of the only beers that, like, people, I'm not saying myself, but, like, a lot of folks would drink, not warm, but, like, they just leave it sitting out. Whereas, like, doing that with, like, a Coors Banquet or something, like, bums me out, dude. I'm not going to drink that shit.
I think you know this about me and maybe 3 other people. I would actually prefer you leave the beer out of the fridge. Unless it's like a Peroni or something that actually matters. If it's Rainier, don't waste the fridge space. I'm just going to chug it anyway. The colder it is, the harder it's going to be to chug.
Well, I will say there's certain quantities where it's just it's a fool's errand to fridge it for us. Like
30 rack.
Yeah, like for a Packers game. Like, what? Don't put the 18 pack in the fridge. Like, that's stupid. Chris has a third person. Again, foolish. We're gonna be going to the beer store at halftime.
Yeah.
So yeah, those times, completely agree. But still, I would like a cold beer at least. You're saying you're just leaving them out because it's like, we'll smash
Packers game or not. Yeah. Not worried about it. Figure it out. Get down to the last 10. They're still cold from when the store made them cold.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just called efficiency. Who needs fridges? Who needs the ice box? But no, I completely respect your anti-Guinness. There's a reason that it's not all over the fucking country. There's a lot of people, if it was so cool, if it was so awesome, it would probably be like sold a little more frequently, although it is also cost prohibitive. If it were as cheap here as it is in Ireland, I don't know.
Could be different. I might have learned on that beer rather than Rainier.
Yeah. Yeah, it was consistently the cheapest thing. Fun fact, before we move to the next topic, most popular non-Guinness beer in Ireland, at least this was just what I saw. Don't know if it's... but Heineken. Every single... The most popular... If you're not buying a nitro stout, you're buying a Heineken. And they actually have a factory there.
See?
There's one
it's probably literally better there because when Heineken gets here, a lot of people think it's like a skunky beer. It's the green glass.
Yeah. Yep.
The sun fucks everything up. It's just like I can't find a Peroni in a brown bottle here. It makes the difference.
Right.
I don't know why people
Same with a lot of, Cerveza, your Mexican beer. It's the same thing. Your Dos Equis in a green bottle. Beer. Yeah, sure. I guess Budweiser too. Don't you mean InBev? But yeah, same thing. You got the clear or the light colored bottles, the green bottle for the Dos Equis. Skunks.
But if they have a factory there, it probably tastes like Heineken is supposed to taste.
Yeah, the Irish don't even have sun, so your risk of that, getting shipped and Very low.
It actually goes the other direction. It turns more into Heineken.
Yeah, this is great.
So today I showered before I came here because I like to look pretty for you. And we live in a new place. We have a shower that is glass, and I have to squeegee it every time I'm done. And for the first like 10 showers, it's like, oh, what a fun little thing. Squeegee. Yeah, I get to say squeegee. And now I'm so fucking fed up by the end of every shower I take. I'm just like, God fucking damn. I'm not even enjoying the squeegee anymore.
Nothing like a chore that creates another chore.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Christ on a crutch.
Am I sweating from bathing myself or from squeegeeing this entire fucking...
I just got a shower again. I'm like fucking Sisyphus in here, but with taint sweat. Yeah. That sucks because we have a glass door, but it's like the marbled glass. Right. So, I mean... It still gets...
You're not seeing crazy soap stains on it.
Exactly. It's still character. A thing. Yeah. It just allows more laziness on our part. Yeah, I would not... That's something I know would take getting used to. And also, Ashley and I, we're used to divvying up chores. And the idea of both of us having to do a chore is instant bullshit, in my opinion. Because if we're both going to have, like, either of us showering, we now have to... Like, what the fuck?
Right.
We can't whack this up?
This is why I think people started making those showers that just have like half walls, because you don't have to like fucking clean it immediately after you use it before you even get out.
Oh, right. You're dirtying less stuff for later. Yeah, true. I like that minimalist approach, but there's, where does it stop? Live in a field, shit. You don't have to clean a thing.
No wall. Your whole house is a shower.
I feel like I'm not like a dirty person, but my spatial awareness, like you giving me a place like that to shower with like a missing wall, I'm just gonna make a fucking mess. I don't even know, like a dog somehow, like I've just fucked it all up.
Tell you what, the thing I love about this shower is I am a pretty big guy. The last shower, I could not turn without touching something.
See, that's one of those things too that makes you feel unnaturally self-conscious or unfairly, like, I'm a fat guy. Yeah. I'm not that fucking fat though. Like, come on, man.
There's like a spot where there isn't soap scum because my flab touched the window. Like, God damn it.
There's like, those bathrooms where the toilet is positioned in front of the tub and there's about 9 millimeters of shin space, and so you're kind of like hunched over just so you're not like breaking your legs, and it's like, is my gut about to touch the toilet seat? And what does that mean for my potential offspring? Like that's just one of those, the airplanes, same thing. If you're in the unfortunate situation where you got to shit in the sky, nothing will make you feel fatter than trying to utilize one of those, trying to move around in there. Like as a kid, having been on a couple flights at most, the first time I saw Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
The bit with him like losing it trying to change in the bathroom, I was like, well, that's like funny fat guy stuff. Now I'm like, dude, a 160-pound man would to fully change in an airplane bathroom.
Dude,
you're fucking it up.
I wasn't planning on going here with this, but occasionally you'll see on the old Pornhub some lady going into an airplane bathroom and getting up to some business in there.
Right.
How the fuck is there room for that?
I can't even jack off in there. Yeah, you're going to involve like a whole nother body?
Spread your legs. What?
Is she a transformer? Like,
how big is that bathroom? I'm calling bullshit. That is a set. There's no way that's a real airplane.
Or, is it one of those things like...
It's certainly not Delta. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the planes I'm on. Maybe it's like the Emirates commercials that Penelope Cruz is in, where you can, You get
an extra 10 inches in the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. Still not getting laid. Still an impossible premise.
I'll give you 10 inches in the bathroom.
I'll give you a thumb because I can only basically move this arm.
Yeah. You want me to thumb you?
Now that is a line that in a porno, probably not too many of those. A rare line. Jesus Christ.
Okay. I was thinking about this the other day because I've been starting to work out more, which means I'm not just lifting anymore. I'm doing cardio, which I fucking hate.
Yeah.
I started thinking about recess when I was a kid and how when everybody like collectively decided we were playing tag, that was like a death sentence.
Oh yeah, it's the worst.
No, fuck you. I'm going on the big toy. I'm going to go pout on the big toy because I'm not involving myself. I'm not trying to get up to cardio before lunch. Certainly not after lunch.
Tag is tough for sure. You got to learn to, like a boxer, you got to cut off the ring when you're, you got to figure out how to like corner kit. Well, that sounds bad. But
well, that's the other thing. I only have straight line speed.
You're not doing well in like
and I still need to build up to it.
Yeah, you're not the like shuttle run drills or like what are some, like the cone drills and the combine. Like those are tripping you up. Yeah, for sure.
Faster than you think when I'm running in a line, but if you make me turn, man,
it's a problem.
I'm not good at putting on the brakes.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, I think that as a bigger guy, any sport, there's going to come challenges. But for the childhood, hide and seek, you're a bigger target, but your speed shouldn't be as much of a factor there. But yeah, that's definitely.
There's other problems though. Hide and seek when you're that big.
What do you got?
Hiding behind stuff.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, you're
under.
Yeah, under stuff impossible.
In. Quietly, sometimes you're wheezing. I mean, there's a whole lot going on.
Yeah, like that Indiana Jones when Harrison Ford crawls into a fridge.
Again, this is like the airplane bathroom. No chance. No way.
Whose fridge?
He's masturbating in the fridge.
Fucking Narnia fridge is this?
Yeah. No shelves. There's no way there's shelves.
No, of course not. Yeah, that's anyways.
All the mustard was harmed then.
I do think that the size advantage comes in when you're playing like Flyers Up or maybe Red Rover. That's where the big guy size comes in handy.
I was flexing on fools. For sure. Red Rover, yeah, that's another good one. Speaking of back in the Dizzy, I have a good memory, and every once in a while I'll remember something from like grade school, junior high, or just something about somebody, and I'll reach out. I'll be like, hey, I just remembered this thing, and I was wondering how you're doing. And I, like, more than once, I've had people just completely ignore me or block me. And finally, it got to the point where I asked Katie, I was like, is this normal? Like, am I being weird? She's like, yeah, that's creepy. I was like, why? She's like, I don't know. Like, you're bringing up something from second grade. I'm like, shouldn't they remember it? It happened to them.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like, no. So why is having a good memory creepy?
Because everybody knows that they've made mistakes, and they're like, what else does he remember?
That's what it is. They're just afraid of what I mean now.
You're running from ghosts in the past. You can't quarantine the past, Chris. You cannot. So that would be my guess. Yeah, because I've definitely weirded some people out with that too, and they're just like, how do you remember that? It's like, first of all, that's
just weird. I jacket to you every day.
Yeah, that's a weird question. That
I've been stalking you for years.
It implies like some sort of memory game where I'm just like, remember in fourth grade? No.
Yeah, like, do you think I'm obsessed with you or something? Just remember you had light up shoes, you freaking jerk.
Yeah. Also, they died in 3 weeks like everyone else.
Yeah, and I got you in Heads Up 7-Up. Son of a bitch.
Call back.
All right, Cole, here's a question for you. If the person you hate the most were to experience one slight inconvenience every day for the rest of their lives, what would you choose it to be? You want to hear mine first?
Yeah, go for it. You seem passionate.
If every day, every time they were carrying something heavy and had to go through a door, the door would be locked. And they'd have to put down everything to unlock it. And then when they picked everything back up and walked through the door, their belt loop would get caught on the handle.
So the twofer, the classic twofer. Mm-hmm. I'm going basic here. You're just sticky.
Oh man, that is good.
Yeah, hands.
Diabolical.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't now if mild inconvenience. See, to me that's major fucking problem. So I don't. This is a stop everything.
How
moment.
Sticky?
Yeah, exactly. If you're walking around, even stickiness on your shoes where you're like, somebody spilled a Mountain Dew here a half hour ago. You're walking around just like,
yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, I don't want them to be so sticky they could like maybe get a handicap sticker or something, or like government benefits.
Yeah, somebody needs to shop for you now.
Yeah, this person's too sticky to go on. I want it to be just sticky enough that it's like you want to wash your hand, that kind of.
like the whole time, even when they're talking, they're like, yeah, yeah, and they're just thinking, I wish
sticky
I
in a way that their therapist would be like,
"Are you sure you're sticky?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Is the sticky in the room with us right now? Yeah, that one's always. I don't know what. I mean, mild inconveniences like when you're, I don't know, putting a sock on and it gets stuck on a nail or something. You're like, you motherfucker! But you only put on a sock, once, maybe twice a day if you've got if you're playing some pickup or something
all the time.
Yeah, sticky's a bummer.
Yeah, they'd be like itchy all the time. That'd be good too. Ooh, nonstop hiccups.
Ooh, that is also, that's a son of a bitch. That is a tough one.
Sticky with hiccups.
Now we're just fucking. This is torturous.
This is Aaron Rodgers we're talking about.
True. I hope he can find another situation like Green Bay. I wonder what city has something like that. That quick aside on just the Mike topic. Growing weed, I should say, on the sticky topic, but him growing weed, I didn't know this until, the first time helping him trim the plants when I was 15, just how annoyingly sticky fresh weed is.
Oh yeah.
And how, like, not even dried in any capacity. Mm-hmm. This stuff is wet plant. And not only that, but how hard that is to remove. Like, my brother figured out the best way is olive oil. Like, you need like a fat to bind to the THC. It's like the same reason that you can make like weed brownies to some extent, or similar principles are involved. But yeah, like we tried everything. Like, it won't come off with normal soap and rubbing alcohol. It's a bitch.
That's so funny. I have to use antiperspirant. I can't use like a regular deodorant because it like fucks up, like my armpits get all red. It's the weirdest shit ever.
Oh, interesting.
So I have to use that, and I've realized I can't put on too much, or I have to work out really hard. Because if I try to take a shower and there's still any it's not fucking around. I think it actually is like activated by soap. If you try to put soap on it, it's like, whoa, it like
tightens up.
Yeah, it gets as anti as it possibly can. Fuck, dude. It's anti-soap-print, if anything.
Yeah, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never really used antiperspirant because that's
I don't
truly
recommend
stops
it.
you.
I do not recommend it.
Right. You're doing it out of need.
If you can avoid it, please do. Ooh, headlines. All right. Headlines is fun this week. It's a little bit different than normal. We've got two actual headlines and then one story that I can't give you the headline because I just can't give you the headline. There isn't really one. So the first one,
okay.
4-year-old calls 911 on mom for being bad and eating his ice cream.
Okay, what state did this happen in?
I bet you could guess off the top of your head. You don't even have to look at the article. I bet you could guess it. Where is dairy most important?
This is Wisconsin.
Wisco! Wisco, baby. A 4-year-old boy in Wisconsin took justice into his own hands after his mom ate his ice cream by calling 911. When dispatchers in Mount Pleasant received the call, the boy insisted that his mom needed to be taken away, declaring, "My mommy is being bad." His mother quickly took the phone to explain the situation, admitting to the crime and revealing that her son was not happy about it. So the officers checked on the boy, and they brought him ice cream the next week, which,
that's a nice... Also, not too much crime happening in the town would be my first...
Well, yeah, clearly.
This is a safe part of Wisconsin.
They don't have bigger fish to fry. If
what is it? They're not in East Milwaukee. They're like...
Yeah, they're in a quiet part of town.
It is a fun story, and I will say, depending on the brand, I get it. There are levels,
I just have to know the dispatcher's involvement in this because the cops showed up. Which means the dispatcher sent them.
Like they thought that ice cream was some sort of code. Like, well, you better go check.
Or they're like, oh my God. Your ice cream? Oh, I'm sending the caps right over.
Yeah, the frozen custard from Culver's.
Yeah. Okay, well, see, now that you say it that way.
You better call for backup.
Yeah. 2 squad cars, please. This is a fun one. Egyptian Airlines hijacker poses for selfie mid-hijacking. In 2016, an Egypt Air flight from Alexandria to Cairo was hijacked by a man named I'm not even going to attempt that. Who claimed to be
Eldon Mustafa.
I could have gotten the Mustafa, but what was you?
I think it's Saif Eldon Mustafa.
There we go. Cole with the win. Who claimed to be wearing an explosive belt. The hijacker forced the plane to divert to Cyprus, where a tense standoff took place. During the incident, a British passenger named Ben, I think Ines, made headlines when he asked to take a photo with the hijacker. Now, we will post a picture of this. If not, you can look it up. It is adorable. The man who asked for the selfie looks so pleased. He looks really happy.
Yeah, and this is absolutely the type of photo where you're like, I know Americans have a reputation for being dumb, but you got to hand it to the Brits every once in a while for just being...
This guy absolutely said YOLO before this.
Complete numpty.
The hijacker looks, not thrilled, but he does not look mad. I think he looks flattered, actually, if anything.
Either flattered or just like confused to the point where he's like, yeah, sure, I guess I'll take a photo with you. Like, I don't know, not knowing what like the ideological bent drove him to wearing an explosive belt.
If it turns out he just made it up, wasn't explosive. But
classic Tommy boy.
Classic. Yeah. It's just road flares taped to him. I don't know. If it were me and I was actively committing a crime, I think the last thing I would want is photographic evidence.
Who the fuck is this guy? Yeah, get the hell out of here. But I will say, the one thing in defense of the dumb British guy asking for the photo, if a person has explosives, claims to, again, they were fake, but if those are real and the guy's actually going to blow them, like, we're all dead, right? So, like, what's the difference between me being, like, over here versus over there?
In my experience, at least 19 out of 20 people who claim to have explosives have fuck all. They've got absolutely nothing.
So, you're right. It is, you can be confident in calling that bluff, but every once in a while, there's, like, a pizza delivery guy that actually has a bomb on his neck, and it actually...
I think... Oh, man. What a reference. Holy shit. That was brutal. This guy could have been... This could be genius. What if the plane blows up, right? And they're like, we don't know who did it.
Okay.
His phone somehow survives, and we have this picture. Imagine being the person reviewing the evidence and being like, did this guy take a selfie with the hijacker?
We lost the black box somewhere over the... But luckily, we got a cell phone. Yeah, that's actually a very good point. There's some plausibility to that one.
Okay, cool. So this one I'm so excited to talk about. In Ireland, they were trying to find this traffic offender, Pravo Yazdi. He kept getting tickets. And they're like, how does this... His home address keeps changing. They spent millions of dollars trying to find this person so they could put him in jail. Pravo Yazdi didn't exist no matter where they looked. No...
Yeah, like Kaiser Soze.
Didn't exist anyplace. Turns out, Pravo Yazdi is Polish for the word driver's license.
Yeah, I have read about this, actually.
These absolute geniuses only looked at the first two words and were like, that's got to be the name. We're gonna roll with that. They never pulled over a woman that had, like... How were there so many Polish people getting tickets in Ireland?
That's a good point. The part about,
The Poles are not known for traveling a whole lot.
Yeah, and you're forcing them to cross water there, which is a big ask for most, at least the Polish Americans I know. That is a good point about, like, the gender association of the name, because, yeah, any cop that's pulled over two Poles, right, of differing genders would be like, I guess, is Pravo one of those names, like...
And did they not look at anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Sydney, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah, where, this could be either. But, that's a very silly story.
They spent millions of dollars, allegedly, trying to allegedly find this person. And they did, like, did you not take pictures of the driver's licenses and realize, they all have different heights and weight and address and appearances?
And a lot of them don't have, like, a criminal history that would indicate racking up.
Too much Guinness. Too much Guinness in the system, man. Can't be asked to give a shit.
It is funny that, if you punch into, North American Google or, your .com, your U.S. Google, something from a different language, it'll auto-translate it these days. Now, I don't know about then, but if anybody had simply punched in, Pravo Yaji back then, like, it would be like, do you mean driver's license?
Yeah. It is a driver's license.
Yeah. Somehow Google knows what we're having problems with. Don't know how that's the case, but they don't know who this fucking guy
Google
is either.
Knows. God. That was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. When I read that, I was absolutely baffled.
That is a pretty funny one, especially because I'm guessing that, the Poles that do travel, Ireland being in the EU, I think Poland is as well. Like, there's a freedom of movement that does make it easier to go place to place. But you would think by being in the EU, then you might be aware that, some of these Polish people speak Polish. Like, not everyone in the EU is. Oh shit! I almost forgot.
Yeah, they're like, there can only be one Polish person. Zoinks. All right, we are on to what's up with that. Cole, Velcro wallets. What's up with that?
Just really worried about your stuff, man.
I have only seen 2 types of people have Velcro wallets. Children and criminals. And I don't know why the criminals always have them, but they're always...
Because you can hear somebody getting in here.
And I swear the only place I generally see them are 7-Eleven for some reason. I love being picking out a beer and you just hear a shh, like somebody opening a Velcro wallet. Like, yeah, baby, this guy's paying for that 4 Loco and quarters.
It's got the zip up coin pouch. It's ready to go.
Yeah, it's jingly too. Ooh, lots of sounds.
The Dale Earnhardt. I do think it's got to be anti-crime deterrent first and foremost, because any like trifold wallet, is going to keep it's going to keep your shit in place.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not giving you that alarm.
When it's also like yellow or something. Like, I've never seen a Velcro wallet that was a normal color.
Yeah, there's always like a band logo or something. You're like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Motorhead.
This person also has a chain on their jean shorts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've worn enough jean shorts.
Metallica playing in the background. Yeah, but have you worn them below your ass cheeks?
No, I do have some semblance of standards. I don't think I could pull off that look. I think that's really what it comes down to.
I have no ass.
Yeah, I got the Hank Hill ass. I got the concave situation.
Mine's bad. My back just turns into the back of my knees.
It's just on a downward slope.
Yeah, just straight down. What is up with that? All right.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. Crime deterrent is my best guess for what is up with that.
Yeah, well then why the children with them? It's mostly for kids, right? That's always been my thing. Every time I see an adult with one, I'm like, what are you doing? Get a wallet. Or a money clip. Like, do something. Like, are you 12? This is crazy.
You got to graduate, man.
Yeah, you have your library card in there too? Freaking...
Just getting riled up, motherfucker.
I'm so annoyed.
Son of a bitch.
It's always something funny. Something funny is always happening next, though. You know what I mean? Like they're borrowing change out of the like donation thing on the counter to help pay for their...
Can I get 3 of these pennies to make it dime?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So we have, I guess, kind of a new segment. This is piggybacking off of... We've talked about my struggles with learning about history because I can't really understand how people live. So I've got a couple books to help me understand how people lived in ancient times. And I have some information about ancient Rome and Greece. We're going to call the segment When in Rome until we come up with a better name.
Or until there's like an Egypt thing we got to do. And it's like,
yeah.
Shit.
When in
Cairo.
Egypt. So we're going to talk about their diets. See, this is right up my alley. But it's one of the things I always think about. I'm like, how am I supposed to relate to these people? What did they eat? Where did they shit? How often did they bathe? Things like that. I can't make sense of it if I can't understand the people or where their head's at. So this is fun. We learned a little bit about their diet. Cole, you're going to love this because I know how much you think cereal is food.
Oh, my God.
Cereal and other grain-based items like porridge and bread, when it could be afforded, accounted for 75% of the calories consumed by the average Roman.
So it basically looked the same as like the fucking food pyramid we grew up with, where it's like, eat as many Cocoa Pebbles as you can. This actually, I'm glad you're telling me that, because this validates my point that Like, it's not food. I mean, I guess it's food, but if it's good enough for people 2,500 years ago, is it really stuff you want to be eating that much of? Like, calm down. Right. Just calm down.
Guys, we've evolved.
I will say, though, we got some dope.
And all we did was frost the mini wheats.
Their cereal was probably a lot closer to food, though. It was probably like some grape nuts type shit.
I think it had to be like mini wheats or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because also, I mean, with cereal, you know, they'll refer to grains broadly as like cereal grains, where it's like, okay, you guys are just eating. You're eating a lot of seeds. You weren't eating the modern.
Yeah. Now,
Cookie Crisp.
Picture this. 3/4 of the food you're eating is that.
I'd go to war. You know, like, sign me up.
Yeah. Oh, I get to die sooner, potentially. Yeah. What's up, Caesar? Let's roll.
What do the gladiators eat? Or, you know, what do the soldiers eat? I'm just signing me up.
So so that is kind of a different thing. If you had, so that was the average Roman person. People who had money got to eat protein.
Yeah.
The primary protein was fish, and the primary fish was the moray. Do you know what a moray is?
I do. They're fucking ugly bastards.
Giant ugly eel with big crooked teeth. That's
fucking awesome.
They live in holes and under rocks. It has been described as, I love this description, this is why I added it, combining all the malice of a predator with every unloveliness of the worm.
I like how neither comparison's a fish.
Yeah.
It's two land creatures.
So Vedius Polio, unfortunate last name. I guess they didn't know about it then, but
yeah.
An advisor to Emperor Augustus kept morays in a pool at his villa, and when his slaves pissed him off, he would throw them in the pool to be eaten alive by the morays, and then he would eat the morays to prove his point.
Okay.
How close to cannibalism is that? That's a step.
It's like a second cousin.
That is one step away.
It's definitely close enough that, like...
Did they get a chance to digest it?
I'm guessing no. I would guess no.
Dahmer would have loved this guy.
It's that is next level cannibalism.
Yeah,
you know,
it's weird as hell.
Extra step. I didn't know more. In fairness, I had no idea. I knew they were ugly, mean bastard fish, but I didn't know that you could theoretically have a pit of them. Like catfish are ugly, mean bastard fish. They're not going to like fucking kill your ass unless they drag you underwater.
Described as the longer you keep them alive, just the huger they get.
Yeah, kind of like a catfish. They just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like not really much.
Apparently big enough to eat your slaves. Only when you're mad at them, though.
Right. Yeah. The good ones.
You really tick me off. Into the moray pit. In you go. Your dinner later. This was unsettling to me. I think some people actually eat these, but in Greece, the primary poultry was geese.
Okay.
I've never pictured geese in Greece. Every time I think of Greece, I'm like, what a beautiful, just a lovely, serene place. You don't hear the fucking honking of geese.
Like seagulls and shit.
Yeah. Ugh. I hate geese. I mean, I've said this on the podcast before. I hate birds. Geese has to be top of the fucking list.
Geese, you know, geese are mean birds. Like crows, you know, they'll get in your shit.
They don't even honk business. Like the honk sound. It's like cracks every time. It's not even a normal honk. It's awful. Get your honk down at least. When chickens were first imported, they were used primarily for cockfighting.
So they
saw the goose
source.
And they're like, boom, eating that.
Yeah.
And the chicken, they didn't think to eat that. They're like, no, these are for fighting.
In fairness, though, those like old school wild chicken, this isn't like the modern,
like the huge-breasted chickens that we think of now.
Yeah, did you know that there was? We may have talked about this. Yeah, basically, we may have discussed this. But did you know in the 50s there was actually a competition called, you know, the Raise the Chicken of Tomorrow, and it was a competition to see what farmer could. I think it was Tyson Foods or
how to put big legs on mine.
Purdue Farms, like a cartoon.
Get some meat in there.
Give me the dark meat. But yeah, the modern chickens still have lineage back to that 1950s weirdo competition. Huh. But before that competition, a lot of the chickens were pretty lean, and especially wild ones like the Romans had. Like Ashley and I, when we visited Mike in Hawaii years ago, you see some wild roosters, and you're like, I would not eat that. That looks like stringy shit.
Yeah, probably looks more like a roadrunner.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. It looks like every bit of meat on them is pure muscle. Like it's not going to be a good time. But
Have you heard the story about the chicken that lived with its head cut off for like 6 years?
What were they doing? Squeezing cookie dough down its neck hole or something?
Yeah, they used a dropper.
Go-gurt?
Like that you thought if it's going to survive, it's going to have to be cookie dough.
It's we're nutrient dense, you know.
If I didn't have a head,
little melted butter.
I mean, you don't have a tongue if you don't have a head. You can't even taste it. What's the point in cookie dough at that point?
True. You've really, what's the point in going on? Why continue?
Headless? Ugh, come on. Yeah.
I like how that's the one sense, not sight or hearing, seeing my loved ones, like, can't eat anything. The fuck is that shit?
Hard no. Maybe that'll be our Wikipedia for our next episode, because that actually is an interesting one. I'm amazed you didn't know about that, actually. Etymology, Cole.
6 years is just longer. I knew about few days or, keeping the...
I think it was 6 years. I mean, I was hesitant when I said that. It was a long time. Long enough for the owners to take it to circuses to, like, show people.
Oh, my God.
So... yeah. Etymology, Cole, do you know where mind your P's and Q's comes from?
I do. I actually do.
My favorite thing about... So, mind your P's and Q's is old time... I mean, I don't remember. I think it's from Britain originally. But mind your P's and Q's is what...
from the original Gutenberg press.
Is what a barkeep would shout when there was a fight in a bar. Mind your P's and Q's meant mind your pints and quarts.
See, my understanding is different on etymology here. So we might have to go... I'm sure you're right, because I haven't looked it up in years. But the old Gutenberg presses, you had to manually typeset each word. And the P's and Q's look identical. Or not identical, but, easy to fuck up, easy to flip around.
Yeah.
But now, and I think we've got the time. I didn't actually. This is an interesting one, because I could see you being.
So I love. I mean, even if this is wrong, I like.
Oh yeah, no, I think you might be right.
I like the premise, because I like that there is a fight actively happening in their bar, and they're only concerned about the beer, or their glassware. They're not concerned at all about the people squabbling.
So I will say that initially my thing comes up, but also your thing comes up. So there's both. That is this.
I have a feeling yours is probably initially correct, and then mine is additionally correct.
Yeah, like it took an
additional meaning. Yeah.
Yeah, because it says that it comes from the pubs in Scotland and England as well. So yeah, that's interesting. I think this is the first. Not that we've done a ton of these etymologies, but this is the first one I think where we've actually had two legitimate claims to...
You see, this reminds me of when they came up... Katie and I were talking about this the other day. When they came up with the original... They started calling uppercase letters and lowercase letters such in like the 1860s or something, because of the printing press. The I can't remember the actual word for it now, but the bigger letters, uppercase, were in the uppercase.
Your capital.
Yeah, your capital letters when you picked out.
Oh, I didn't know that one. Okay.
The uppercase and the lowercase were in the lowercase.
Interesting.
So that's why it's called that. So,
that's pretty rad.
Yeah, I guess that's an additional.
Look at us learning stuff today.
For today. All right, this is what I am really excited to talk about today. I think the best person of all time, we can call it here. Wikipedia, in honor of baseball season, we are going to talk about Professional Baseball Hall of Famer Rube Waddell. And I will say there's not a whole lot of baseball to talk about here, but there's a lot of Rube.
He's a lot to handle. He was, I will say, before you even get into the non-baseball stuff, if you look up his career numbers, that guy was putting up strikeout numbers.
He had a career 2.16 ERA.
And his Ks per 9 today probably wouldn't look that crazy, but for that era, with the way that guys always made contact, he was striking out literally like twice as much as the next guy in the league. He was like a Walter Johnson type. But sorry, I don't mean to... Yeah.
There's a lot here. There's a lot here that we have to get through, because I am just fascinated by this guy. Feel free to interject at literally any point. Rube Waddell was born on Friday the 13th, 1876, and died on April Fool's Day, 1914. So that's all going to add up as we go through the rest of this.
The short life in particular.
Yeah, I condensed this, so I wrote this. I'm going to be reading something that I wrote based off a lot of information I gathered because there's a lot to get through here. He used to do cartwheels off the mound in games that he won.
That's a rad start.
In 1900, this guy's doing cartwheels when he wins. You couldn't do that shit today without somebody having a fucking aneurysm.
Yeah, that does give you a lot of, like, the whole old school, like, back in my day baseball, like, what do you mean Rube Waddell did a cartwheel 120 years ago? And, you want to lose it about Ozzie Smith doing a backflip or something? Yeah.
He was easily distracted by shiny objects and once disappeared for months during an off-season only to be discovered wrestling alligators in a circus.
Yep.
Again, best guy. We're not even a quarter of the way through all the amazing things about this man.
And I do want to jump in on a couple things because you have the access to more of the info, but I do believe that his opponents on multiple occasions used the shiny object thing against him and would fuck with him during games, and like fans would. It became known enough, and I think one time he even like left the mound. Like, I got to see what this shiny thing is.
You'll see as I read through this, he left the field often. He's like, I know I'm like technically working right now, but I have to go see that fire truck.
Exactly. It's pretty cool.
He tried out for the This one made me laugh because there's no more information here, but it made me laugh really hard. He tried out for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1897, but was seated next to manager Patsy Donovan during breakfast and was released immediately after the meal. Rue, what did you do? What did you say? He must have taken his silverware, shiny silverware.
This guy's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like, like, this isn't just like some fucking guy where you're like, he just said something so weird. Get him off the team. Like, this is a guy winning like 30 games for you a year or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, get him. He's gone. Yeah. He has to go.
Has to leave.
Yeah. He just asked me if I eat my own poop or whatever he said.
Yeah. Here we go, Cole. We were just talking about this. He once left in the middle of a game to go fishing. That's something you usually premeditate.
I like how they couldn't find the motherfucker wrestling gators for months, but they found him fishing the same goddamn day.
I imagine somebody had to follow him.
Right. The game's
Where
going.
Where the fuck are you going? It's an 0-2 count.
We don't know. I'm sure there weren't even bullpens at that point. Like, we don't have anyone warming up. What the fuck?
I'm not being fair to Rube. I'm sure he didn't leave in the middle of an at-bat. He probably finished the inning.
I don't know, Chris.
He had a fascination with fire trucks and ran off the field to chase after them during games on multiple occasions. I'm in love with this guy. He would delay games to play marbles with kids.
That's adorable.
On August 19th, 1900, he pitched the first game of a doubleheader for Milwaukee, winning in the 17th inning on his own triple. Pitchers should hit. His manager offered him a 3-day fishing vacation if he'd pitch the second game. He threw a complete game shutout and headed for Pewaukee Lake.
So he threw 26 innings? Oh, my God. Dude, even in the old era, that is unfucking believable.
He began the 1903 season sleeping in a firehouse in Camden, New Jersey, and ended it tending bar in a saloon in Wheeling, West Virginia. He won 22 games that year. That same year... I know, it's crazy. The guy doesn't even know where he's sleeping.
That's so far to go. Was he playing for the same team at the end of it? Where did he start and where?
New Jersey and Virginia. West Virginia.
Oh yeah, okay. I guess that's not, but still in that era and you're still traveling with the team. What the fuck?
That same year he toured the country in a vaudeville play called The Stain of Guilt, but could not remember his lines, so was given permission to ad-lib short responses.
Who cast this man?
Apparently a lot of people turned out to see him.
You're going to put Shiny Object Guy on stage? And this guy probably doesn't even know how to look over at like the understudy and be like, line.
Yeah, like, at one point he got a little carried away and he took the villain in the play and threw him across the stage and they didn't know what to do after that. Like that wasn't in the script.
How do you bounce back from that?
Yeah, he's really strong.
That's like how Buster Keaton got trained. His dad would throw him around when he was a kid.
He once saved a woman from drowning, accidentally shot a friend through the hand, and was bitten by a lion. How is this person real? Again, like 1900, were the 1900s real, like the early 1900s?
They were certainly real for tuberculosis and shit. I don't know.
Oh, that's so fucked up. That's how he died.
Oh, of course. Could have called that one. But, like, how did you... Lions were not a thing that they were just roaming around.
It had to be when he was in the circus. That's the only connection I can make.
True. I'm glad he was in the circus long enough
when this Major League Hall of Famer was in the circus, you know, before he was doing the vaudeville play, he couldn't remember his lines in. He must have been bitten by a lion.
It's like Bob Gibson being a Harlem Globetrotter.
It's interesting he was
something.
wrestling alligators and it was the lion that bit him.
Yeah, no shit. Well, I guess that goes to show you the whole, you know, keeping their mouth closed thing really does work.
The lion must have had something shiny in there. Must have had a crown.
With a name like Rube.
This is great because this includes a letter to Connie Mack.
Oh, my God.
Somebody wrote a letter about Rube Waddell to Connie Mack, who was his manager. Anyway, in 1906, his team traveling roommate penned a letter to their manager, Connie Mack, saying, "Dear Connie, this is not a touch for any advance or increase in salary, but something much more serious. Oh. And as it won't be long before the Athletics start south for spring practice, I am going to ask you put Waddell under another charge this year. While I did not mind Rube bringing mockingbirds and a reptile or two into our sleeping apartments down south," I love this.
A reptile or two. Which to me suggests minimum 4, I would just like to say.
"I do object to his habit of eating crackers in bed, many of them resembling animals. This Rube does nightly. His crunching of the crackers, the bed was full of crumbs. I would like to suggest that if you can put a clause in his contract that he is not to eat crackers in bed during the 1907 season, we will continue to be real good friends."
It is clear to me that Connie Mack put the two biggest assholes.
They were best drinking buddies.
Oh, for sure. To be driven...
This wound up in the contract, by the way.
Connie took it serious. Yeah. He said, "Oh, shit." Oh, man. I'm so glad they found a guy that could even match like 1/10 of Rube's weird energy to be like, "I was okay with the lizards."
They had to have been sharing a bed. That's the only way I could think of it possibly being that annoying.
Yeah, seriously, because I mean, I can imagine the smacking of the lips or what, that is annoying, but you're so mad about the crumbs in his bed, you have to be sharing a bed. Unless it's just out of control. Like from afar, you're just so pissed. Can't believe this.
He famously saved the lives of people inside a department store when he picked up a burning oil stove that had overturned and carried it out of the building before it could start a fire. This is the last one. Saved the city of Hickman, Kentucky from floods twice in 1912 and 1913, wading through icy waters, which led to pneumonia and tuberculosis, which ultimately caused his death. Holy fucking shit. What a fucking life.
Yeah. Legend. He was still playing, too, actively when he died,
He was in the
right?
minors. Yeah, he was in the minor leagues after. Yeah, he had been, for some reason, relegated to the minors. His numbers were still quite good, so I'm not sure exactly why.
Could have been behavioral issues.
Might have been all the lizards.
Gonna get this fucking weirdo out of my
No, it was
face.
the animal crackers. Nobody could stand
Even
it.
Connie Mack was like, "I see what you're talking about."
This is the most adorable person I've ever heard of in every way. And I think it's really beautiful that every night he'd tuck into bed and just have some animal crackers.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
But
Let him have his animal crackers.
But he clearly ate them like the Cookie Monster.
he's
Cookies
holding
are
the bag
flying.
over- yeah. He's chugging them.
Famous Amuses are flying.
Oh, all right. We are on to This Week in History.
All right. We don't have a long one this time. Got 3 for this week. So, we're going to start with March 20th, 1815. After escaping from Elba, Napoleon enters Paris with a regular army of 140,000 and a volunteer force of around 200,000, beginning his 100 days rule, which concluded with the Battle of Waterloo. What is your shortest-lived sports superpower? And this is more an opportunity to talk shit. And so examples that I have on hand. The the three-headed monster Nets with Durant and Harden and Irving that didn't do a whole lot.
Okay, I'm glad, because I was like, did they have to win a championship? Like, did they have to reach the top?
I encourage you to go either way, whatever way you think.
That
is
Lakers
fun.
team when I was in like 6th grade or whatever, Karl Malone, Gary Payton,
Oh,
Kobe,
yeah.
and Shaq, it just had fucking every Hall of Famer in the league on it.
Yep.
And then didn't win a championship.
Lost to the Pistons in
Yeah.
5. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's definitely mine. That was crazy town.
That
Was it the next year, or I think it was the next year that they tried to trade for Steve Nash, and the league was just like, nope.
No, it was Chris Paul they tried to trade for. They did eventually get.
Get Steve Nash.
Yeah. They tried to trade for
but
Chris
I know
Paul,
the league
and the league
vetoed
blocked
one
it.
of those. I thought it was Nash, but
Yeah.
it could be Chris Paul.
They could have done both, but I know they vetoed the Paul trade just because I happened to watch something about this recently. It was about that Lakers team, which I think is also a good nominee. The one that got Dwight Howard and Steve Nash, added it to the Kobe soup, and they still had like broke ass Andrew Bynum or what. Like there was a lot there, but Steve Nash, I think, like blew his knee out like 5 days, 5 games into the season.
Never recovered.
And Dwight, as good as he was defensively, probably never took the game seriously enough for Kobe's liking. Like that sort of intense fucking Kobe shit. He never had that. That's one of mine. I'll also say the and I genuinely liked this team, but the Michael Vick Eagles.
Oh, I hate Mike Vick so much.
The promise of them, or like them being touted as, they're going to do it.
Oh, you mean the Vince Young Eagles?
Oh, that's a good point. Vince Young was the one that actually said it. But yes, as the backup, you're right about that. But that year, which I think we actually the best season they had was our Super Bowl year. We beat them in either the first round or the first round.
I remember.
Or no, was that we beat the Falcons?
We beat them in the
first round.
No, we beat the Falcons in the second round.
Okay.
Bears in the NFC Championship.
Yes.
And that season we started playing that team, and Kevin Cobb was the starter, and Clay Matthews broke his brain, so they had to bring in Vic, who looked very scary that whole year.
Yeah.
And then they ate shit, lost to us in the playoffs. Suckers.
I think that'd be my nominee. Just like for how much attention it got, and Philly.
There's got to be another basketball example. Well, no, maybe not, because it seems like every time there's a really good basketball team that isn't a group of assholes like that Nets team you were describing. Holy fuck.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue, as far as like letdown type ones, like shit, man, that Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, like Clippers team never even making it to a Western Conference final.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, I don't know what else to say.
That's Bucks coach Doc Rivers you're talking
about. I didn't shit on him specifically, Chris, but he does foot some of that blame. Okay, March 22nd, 1894, the Stanley Cup ice hockey competition is held for the first time in Montreal, Canada. What championship game or series would you most want to attend? And of
with
course,
or without my favorite team being in it.
You can do either. You can put them in there if
it was my favorite team in it, the World Series. The idea of seeing the Brewers in the World Series is, I can't even comprehend it.
That's a very good.
If I was going to see just any Super Bowl, like if the Packers weren't in it,
yeah.
I mean, I'd obviously love to see the Packers in the Super Bowl.
But I can understand opting for the Brewers.
That's also a level of stress. See, that's the other thing. If I was seeing the Brewers in the World Series, I'm probably at Miller Park, as it will always be called, and amongst Brewers fans.
Right.
Yeah. Super Bowls, it's just people who don't give a shit.
Yeah.
People who just generally like football, and a lot of the other team's fans.
Yeah, that's true. As you know, I didn't go to the Packers-Hawks game here because I don't want to get harangued or whatever. So, yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I think for me, I would choose a heavyweight title boxing match.
That'd be cool.
And that one also does lend itself to, like, of course, I've got my hometown guys, but, like...
Aren't you a big tennis guy?
Yes, and that is another one. I would love to see Wimbledon someday. But yeah, I think that I was fortunate enough to go to the welterweight unification match between Crawford and Spence. And that was a good example of like, there's multiple belts in boxing because it's a broken, shitty sport. There's multiple organizations. Imagine 4 MLBs with their own champion.
God. Okay.
Yeah, hellish. But you do get these moments where one guy holds all the belts, and it's very fun and very exciting when that happens. In that fight, I liked both guys. So it was a very good example of like, I won't be too upset either way. I was rooting slightly for one guy, but it wasn't like watching my team, like Packers Steelers. What a nightmare. Not only if we lose this game, did we lose the Super Bowl, but the fucking Steelers, what Rapelessberger has won his third.
Yeah.
Insane.
I was going to say, I actually really like the Steelers as an organization, and I loved Big Ben until you found out all that other stuff about him. You're like, oh, this guy's a humongous piece of shit.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, but I do think that going to team sports, if all dreams being possible, I want to see the Sonics in the finals. All dreams being possible.
Did you see that there was like a simulation that they did, NBA 2K did over the next like 5 years, and the Sonics are going to win a championship in 3 years, despite not currently existing?
Fucking sign me up, dude.
Yeah. So you might not have to wait too long, Cole.
There we go. Okay, we're going to do this one quick. March 26, 1934, the United Kingdom driving test is introduced. When did you learn to drive? Did you have any struggles, or were you good to go?
What were they doing before then? You could just get a car and go?
Yeah, dude. You could drink and drive until like the goddamn 70s, so let it rip.
Hey, why can't you now?
It's where are my freedoms?
Yeah. So driving test, I nailed the driving portion of the driver's exam. The only thing I missed points on was there was somebody stopped in an intersection, and I had to change lanes to get. They were like broken down, and I had to change lanes to get around them, and I changed in the intersection, so I lost 2 points for that because that's.
Oh yeah, that's not a huge dock though.
But otherwise, I did perfect on that. I had to retake the written 3 times because honestly, they tried to trip you up a lot, or at least that's how I felt.
There's some tricky,
or
like
maybe
make sure
I'm
the
also,
kid's paying attention.
I'm also a shitty test taker. I know people say that just are dumb, and I am. But I knew all the stuff, but I think I might have been second guessing myself. I don't remember. I just felt like they were trying to trip me up, and it made me mad.
You got the yips.
But yeah, for sure.
I did not struggle. Like I passed my test the first time, but I did not get my license until I was 20 or. Yeah, I was 20.
Really?
Yeah, because I couldn't even afford a car when I was 16. I went to driver's ed, but I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'll get the license when blah, 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 which itself was not the smartest thing.
I was 16 and a half when I got mine. I didn't get it right when I was 16 because my parents were like, well, you need to have like a 3.2 GPA or something. And I think I was like, that's not going to happen. So why don't we just let me get this and worry about the GPA some other time?
We're going to have to find a different way to motivate me, folks.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for the Second Lunch podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. There's another one. The other one, X.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm not hardly using that. Only when I have food things to post. Thank you guys for listening. You can watch us and follow us on YouTube as well. We do put a lot of effort into producing this show for you to watch. So if you'd like to do that, please do. Jordan, love you all. Bucks at 6.